Welcome back, guys. Well, today I need to get some stuff done. On my last video, if you were watching, I did this storm door, put this in, and you know, it's funny, you get like kind of blind to your own home at times. And I'm watching back the video, and I'm like, man, my back porch has become a mess. You know, there's a few things that I've been completely aware about and wanting to deal with. Got a new box spring and mattress, and obviously it's hard to dispose of those, so I'm gonna try to do something with that. Broke the vacuum. Let me tell you a little story about vacuums, guys. When your wife drops a cap down the drain in your tub and it's clogged up, don't get frustrated and think, I'll just use the vacuum one time, it won't hurt the motor. Because when it's full of water, it will hurt the motor. You can't get by with it one time, and being mad doesn't make the problem go away. It just gives you another problem. So yeah, we had to buy a new vacuum. So this is just sitting here wasting space. I'm gonna have to figure something out with it. So yeah, you know, we play out here a lot. We got a lot of mess, but also several things I noticed that I just need to fix up. I bought some concrete paint. If I get cleared and excuse me. If I get everything cleaned up and cleared out of the way, I need to paint the floor in here and make it look a little nicer. Need to paint some trim. Of course, now that I've finished over here, I need to cut this foam, get rid of some of that. By the way, I did come back and I tried to get this sealed up a little better. And I think it's just a matter of the doorway. I don't know. You know, not being square. This house is settled. I'm even pulling on it right now. That's driving me nuts. I haven't figured out a way to get that without having this door frame actually stick out more. I might get a new piece of, you know, sealant or something to put in there. You know what I'm talking about. I don't know what to call it, but yeah. But other than that, yeah, we're just gonna try to get some stuff done. I also want to get a little bit outside here. It's been raining off and on. I hate these landscaping timbers. This trim needs some touch-up paint, but of course it's wet. If you noticed in the last video, I broke this piece off, so I got a piece of quarter round to maybe take care of that. So lots of little things here and there. So that's what we're gonna work on today. We're just gonna knock out a little bit of cleanup, basically. I started with the little microwave stand that we have by the back door. You know, we store a few outdoor things in there, some sunblock for our little swimming pool and whatnot. It needed a good cleaning, so I cleared out some of the trash. I started cleaning it up. That drawer right there that I'm starting to work on, the face of it had broken off. Still had the old staples in it. So originally I tried to just put it on and use my hammer and see if I could get it to go back in. That didn't work. Got my air compressor hooked up. Got my hose, got my brad nailer. You see me right there with the hammer trying to get it. So I got the brad nailer in there. Then I just realized I need to go get some wood glue. Got that on. That door's been sitting there messed up forever, for probably a year. This was one of those days where after that last video I'd had enough and it was time to just clean up what had started to become a giant oversized junk drawer, which was our back porch. It was kind of a catch-all, as the old box spring can attest to. So got rid of that, started getting rid of some of the stuff and cleaning it out. This was a long time coming. This back porch had just, we use this area a lot, but it had really started to just be abused and just have junk stored in it. So it really needed a good cleaning. This is kind of a four seasons room for us. In the wintertime, we keep all the windows closed, we keep those curtains closed. And we have a space heater out here, so it's a manageable temperature and it's a nice little extra space to go to. But once the weather turns nice, those screen windows get opened up and stay open pretty much for the whole year, or the whole season, not year. And, you know, it's even better yet when it's raining out. We like hearing that rain come in and smelling that fresh rain. So a lot of moisture gets in there, spiders get in there, bugs get in there, dirt finds its way in. I mean, it's an outdoor space essentially, so it was really needing a good cleaning. And as everything came out, those tables, all that stuff, I was trying to clean it up as I went so that it was nice and fresh and clean when it was coming back. All right, so we got a nice big empty room now. I got a bunch of furniture sitting outside. So we got a mess, so it's time to move on. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this little excess spray foam that's sticking here because I might be creating a little dust and stuff. So before I clean, I'm gonna get that fixed up. All right, moving on. This turned into one of those tasks right here that was just really therapeutic for me. I was using a Dremel oscillating tool with a wood blade, and it cut through the spray foam like butter. And even though I used composite shims when I did this door, it was cutting through those shims pretty easily as well, although a little more effort was required for that. So it was just really satisfying to sit there and get a nice clean edge and cut through all this area right here and all this stuff. I had to take a couple screws out because I had put those shims in and used some screws to kind of get them started. But this part of the process went about as smooth as I could have hoped for. I also had identified that latch plate was close to the door, so there was a lot of wiggle in it when the door was secured. So I decided this was a good time to pull it away from the door and make things a little tighter and more secure. Once I got that done and I knew I wasn't going to have any more dust or debris that I was going to create, I might as well start out instead of sweeping it by hand with the leaf blower and get as much of the crud out of the room as I possibly can with power. This next step is pretty self-explanatory, but once everything was out of there, it's time to clean it up. So I was just using a random bathroom cleaner that I happen to have, and that's what I'm doing now. Once I got complete with the windowsills, the windows, the walls, all that area, it's time to move on to the floor. So I just got a bucket of water and this mop, and I used the same cleaner I was using before, sprayed the heck out of the floor, and then mopped it up. Did the first half, sprayed down the second half, got new fresh water because my water was disgusting at this moment. And you can actually see how much dirt and grime I'm pulling up right now, which was almost making the floor look worse than it originally did. So I knew I was going to have to do a second run through. But if you're anything like me, after I mop, I seem to find all the dirt, all the hair, all the crud that was on the floor that I thought I swept up originally. So I had to sweep first. And then instead of mopping the second time through, that's when I used the spray again, used this beach towel, and while you can't see really well, I could tell when I was doing the work where I was getting things a lot cleaner.
All right, now I gotta get my measurements and cut my quarter round to fit it in. So that's 38. And 39. 38, 39 for those two. All right, everything's cut, everything's cleaned up, ready to go. Just a couple little brad nails in here. So cut just a tiny bit off of that one. All right. Oh, all right, so I need to make a couple adjustments. I thought I could squeeze this in behind here. I'm actually gonna have to pull this out just a little bit, the chain. Just move it back a little, so I'll make some room, trim the bottom one. Okay guys, so truthfully, I didn't know if I was gonna have enough quarter round to do this whole doorway. I just grabbed a couple pieces and didn't think about it till after I was already started about getting the header and cutting in some angles. I'm not gonna take this piece off. I don't wanna risk snapping it in half and just, it's not a big deal to me. So I did cut a little bit of an angle on this one, kind of left the tip so it's not a 45. And so it's fitting in there. It's not a perfect joint, but it looks pretty decent, and with a little caulk I think it'll be just fine. So there's that one. And I did take two scrap pieces together to make this, so there's a joint in the middle of this header. There's that one. I always goof these joints up. Again, it's not 45 to make 90. I can't remember. It's like 33 1/3 or something. If you're looking closely, you see I don't have it perfect, but it's pretty decent, and I'll just put a little caulk in there and it'll be fine. I could have taken the closer off, pushed it back, put in one solid piece, but again, I'm not overly worried about it, and that's just how I roll. You guys haven't figured it out by now, so judge if you want. I'm okay with it.
All right, so I got all the cleaning done, I've got the minor repairs to the back porch area done. Now it's time to bust out the paint and do a little touch-up paint. Of course, I got to start with the walls, the door frames, all that stuff. So I started with a little bit of white paint, which I feel like every household should have a gallon of white paint because you're always going to have a use for it, and you're always going to have something that needs touched up. I did stop on the door. I started painting the entire door, and I realized you're going to see brush strokes, and I want to get the whole door painted a different color anyways. So today is not the day to mess with the door any more than I did already.
But I did touch up a lot of the trim that just had scuffs and marks. Touched up this trim. It's looking a lot better than it was, you know, and if you think when we started today with the spray foam in there, a lot cleaner finish look. It went ahead, even though it's kind of might be raining again, but slapped a little bit of paint on. This is what started this whole darn thing right here, and I didn't even do it as good as I should, which later on when I do the outside work I'll do better, but this is what started it. I was watching the door install video and saw that spot right there that had a huge scratch mark that was the paint was gone, and just one of those things you live with it and you never notice. And then I was watching back, I was like, that's driving me nuts. So I got a lot of outside stuff to do too. That's going to be next, but not today. All right, let's get this floor painted.
I want to start by sharing with you guys a little experiment I did with this. I saw on TikTok someone use aluminum foil and put it in their paint tray so that they didn't have to clean out their tray afterwards. Now this is an old tray that I've actually not cleaned before, and so it's got like a coat of white paint on it already. But I was like, hey, that's a good idea. And I didn't want to use any aluminum foil because I have a ton of old stretch wrap. You know, that old stuff from the 90s that doesn't really stick to anything, and if you try using it, then it just kind of lays on top of your Tupperware. So I have a ton of that, so I was like, I'm going to use that. And it actually worked pretty good. Although once my paint tray started to run low on paint, then it started to kind of move around in there. If it had plenty of paint, it worked great. You also might want to know what kind of paint I used. I used Rust-Oleum Concrete and Garage Floor Paint and Primer. It says 1 coat coverage, and I'd agree, it worked out really well. You also notice I painted the foundation while I was at it, which is also concrete.
All right, guys, I'm feeling really good about this. Gonna let it dry, do a few finishing touches. It's feeling a lot better, looking a lot better, a lot cleaner. Hoping it doesn't rain anymore tonight. I got this crazy mess going on out here. I'm gonna cover it with tarps and hopefully get it back in there before it rains later on, but I'm gonna leave it for a few hours. I'm hoping this dries fast. Love this concrete paint. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
I came back about 2.5 hours later in what were obviously some humid temperatures, and this floor was almost completely dry. Like, I got on my hands and knees and was touching it, and it was good. I did see a couple spots where I poured a little extra paint on in the corner that were still a little bit wet, but I mean, man, 2.5 hours, as humid as it was out, it was ready to go and put all this stuff on. I couldn't have been happier with how the floor turned out, and I decided it was a good opportunity to do a little rearranging. Our back porch had been set up in the same manner for a few years, so we moved a few things around to see if we could create a little bit more space for ourselves. Of course, cleaned everything up really well before bringing it back in, and tried to tuck it away as nice and tidy as we could. I loved how that floor looked, so as we were putting things away, I kept watching my footsteps, and I kept sweeping. I think I swept 2 or 3 times in this last few minutes. And then I went over the main part of the floor one last time with some spray cleaner, as you're seeing here, and then called it a day.
Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.